we're going to talk about 5 different people that have turned their life around, have changed their life, because they're good examples for us to make sure that no matter how old or young we are, that we are doing things that are pleasing and honoring to the Lord, and that we turn our lives over to him. Okay. So our first one, you're probably going to know exactly who it is as soon as I start talking about it. But the first one has to do with a man who's dropping coins. He's counting some coins, and he's counting some coins, and he's putting them into a bag. So he's taking his money out and he's separating it, and he's coins there, those coins there. And he puts some coins there and he puts some coins there. So he ends up with 2 piles of coins. And so he puts the coins off to the side that those are the coins that he's going to give to the Roman government, because that's what he's supposed to do. He takes the coins from the people that come in to pay their taxes. He's a little guy too. Does that help you? So he takes the money that they bring to him. He tells them how much they're going to pay. Back in Bible times, and even still today, we have to pay taxes because we have to help with our roads and help with our schools and the government and people that are in charge of us, and just helping with decisions that have to be made. So that's normal that we pay taxes. But see, he was, when you came up to him, okay, at the table, a lot of times they would be at the entrance to the city, whatever city you go to, and then you would pay your taxes there if you were coming and visiting, or if you were living there, whatever it would be. And so depending upon how many people were in your family, how much land you owned, and what it was, how big your house was, and what it was that you did for a living. If you had a lot of land, then you paid more taxes. If you had a little bit of land, you still paid some taxes on it. If you were poor and you didn't really have a whole lot, then you would pay less taxes. So, but here's the thing, you're always going to be told more than what you're supposed to pay. So for example, let's say that, Jonathan, you were a fisherman. Okay. So Jonathan, if you're the fisherman, you don't have a lot of money. You have a family. Let's say that you had a wife and you had 5 children. Okay. And you're a fisherman. Well, because you have a wife and 5 children. Okay. That makes, 5 children plus mom and dad. That's 7 people in your family. Okay. You're going to have to pay extra for those 7 people. Okay. Because you have more people in your family. Now let's say that, Judielle, you just got married. Let's say you just got married. So you just have you and your wife. Well, you don't have to pay as much as Jonathan does, because Jonathan has more people in his family. You have to pay a little less. However, you have more land. See, Jonathan didn't own any land. He's just a fisherman. So he doesn't own any land. He just has a little tiny house. But Judielle, you have sheep. You are a shepherd, and you have all of these sheep that you have. So you have to have a big piece of land. So yeah, you have to pay more money now because of that. So everybody was paid differently. Okay. So it depended upon, again, how much you had, how big your family was, what you kind of did, things like that. Now, let's say you came up. Okay. So Jonathan, you're going to come up to this man and you're going to tell him what you have and how many children you have and all these kinds of things. And he says, okay. Then he thinks in his mind, okay, for example, he's supposed to give me $4 for all the people in his family. $5, sir. And you would be like, oh, that's an awful lot. But you don't have a choice, because if you don't pay him the money you're supposed to, he can have you put into prison. Yes. So you have to give him the $5. Okay, so when you give him the $5, he takes $4 and he puts it over where it's supposed to be, because that's what he has to go and send to Rome. But he takes that extra dollar, he puts that in his pile, because he's going to keep that for himself. Now, Judielle, you come up and you say, okay, it's just me and my wife. Okay, just the 2 of us. And I have a lot of land. Okay. Now, Judielle, since you have all this land, you have to pay $6. But in his mind, $8, please. $8? Yeah, I know you're paying more than Jonathan, but remember, Jonathan didn't have any land. You do. So $8? $8 is a lot. Yes. But see, remember, if you own land, you are considered to be more rich. And so that means you have more money because you have all these animals. So you have to be able to take care of them. And so, see, you get it? So you have to pay him $8. Otherwise, he can put you in prison. Now then, He takes the $6 that he's supposed to, and he puts it over on that side because that's the money that goes. But then he takes the extra $2 and puts it on his pile. Yes. Do you know who I'm talking about yet? Okay. So he is just, he's all excited. Ooh, look at all this. Now he just has gotten an extra $3. So one from Jonathan and two from Judiel. So he's just made an extra $3. Now, plus he gets paid for this job that he's doing. So he's stealing money from you guys. Exactly right. And then everybody else that came forward as well. You know, this guy does not have any friends. Nobody wants to be around this guy because, of course, he's doing something that's not right. And so he gathers up everything that he needs for the day, and he heads home to his beautiful home for the end of the day. But then he hears there's some people that are gathering in the road. There's some excitement going on. And so, of course, he wants to go and he wants to find out what all that excitement is all about. And he starts asking about what's going on. And because he can't see. You remember, I told you he's a little shorter. So he can't really see above the crowd. What's going on? And somebody says, well, Jesus is coming into town. Jesus is coming into town. Now, he must have known who Jesus was. I mean, there's all this talk by now. When we learn about this guy, this short little guy, we know that Jesus has been walking around and he's been doing miracles. He's been healing people. If someone can't walk, then Jesus has been making them walk. If they couldn't hear, he was fixing their ears. If they couldn't see, there was a blind man who Jesus healed his face, or his eyes, I should say, not his face, but his eyes, and he could see again. So Jesus was doing all of these things and performing all of these wonderful things, feeding the group of people lunch from just one little boy's lunch. He fed everybody that was out there. The Bible says it was over 10,000 people. Oh my goodness. So all of this was going on. And so I believe that this man knew exactly who Jesus was, and he's in our town. Oh. And he tried to look over and see, but it just wasn't working. And you see, he got to thinking, oh, that's right. Jesus, I've heard about him. He talks to people about the problems that they have, the sin that they have, and how they can get rid of it. And he got to thinking about himself. Yeah, he'd been doing some things wrong. You know, we do things wrong as well. We have sin. These faces, look at their faces. Aren't their faces horrible? Oh man, there are upset faces. You know why they're upset? Because they realize that they've done something wrong. And that makes them feel. But just like Zacchaeus was learning about Jesus, we learn about Jesus ourselves, and we learn about our sin. And this is what happens. This man has got to see Jesus. He's got to see Jesus. I don't know what he was thinking about what he could do. Maybe he could talk to Jesus. Maybe he could see Jesus. I don't know. Something about him. He knew who he was. He must have known who he was. But just to be able to, I guess he just wanted to see him. He really didn't, I don't think he really had a plan in place. He just said, I've got to see. So he ran ahead of the crowd, because he noticed up ahead, there's got to be a way that I can get around this crowd and be able to get in to see Jesus. Maybe he wants to talk to Jesus and ask him some questions. I mean, our thinking and his thinking, we don't really know what each other was thinking. So he runs ahead of this group and he's like, how am I going to get in there? Remember, we've talked about this before. When Jesus would go through the crowds, there were so many people that would come, they would just circle all around him. If you were here, I would probably have you circle all around me to kind of get the idea. And so every time Jesus walked, he had to walk slowly, because if he walked too fast, he would have knocked into people. So he doesn't want to do that. So he has to walk slowly because the crowd is with Jesus and they're just walking with him. Some people are talking with him. Some people are just trying to get close to him. Some people just want to stand next to him. Some people just want to be in the crowd. And so they're all around him. And so he walks through the city very slowly. And as he does, this man now has time to run around. Have you figured out who he is yet? Has time to run around and kind of get ahead of the crowd. Okay, now how am I going to get to Jesus? Because there's people behind Jesus, there's people on the sides of Jesus, there's people in front of Jesus. And so how is he going to get around? How am I going to get up to see Jesus? But then that's when he notices that there is a sycamore tree. Are you getting it now? There's a sycamore tree down the road. And so he thinks, they're going to come this way. They're on this road and they're going to come this way because there's no other way to go. So they've got to come this way. So this is his thinking. This is this man's thinking. This man, do you know who he is yet? Okay. So he climbs the tree. Okay. Can you imagine? Miss Coon right now climbing a tree? Oh, okay. Climbing the tree, I don't think was the problem. It's coming down. Oh. Okay. So he climbs this tree, gets himself situated, and sits on a branch and just kind of waits and sees. Now, from that point, high up in the tree, he can see the crowd is coming. He can see that there's people in the front, and he can see Jesus is kind of in the middle. I guess from where he could see, you can kind of see, the top of people's heads. And so he could figure out probably which one was Jesus, the one everybody's probably already looking at. Even as they walk, there might be people that had been walking backwards with Jesus. So much going on. So he sits in the tree and he's just waiting. Now, this is my thinking. What was he going to do? Was he going to jump on top of Jesus? Was he just going to wait till he got to the middle and then just kind of jump right down? I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. Why would you climb a tree? Why would you climb a tree? Kids climb trees. Older people don't always climb trees. It's a long way down. Bones break. What was he thinking? He gets up in the tree. And here comes the pile of people. And as they're walking, now remember, they're still walking with Jesus. All right. So they're walking. And Jesus is in the middle of this group. So when he gets to this tree, he just simply stops. He doesn't necessarily look up. I don't think Jesus was looking up as he continued to walk. I don't think so. I think he just kept his eyes focused on the people around him and talked to the people that were with him, if anybody was talking with him. And then all of a sudden, okay, he simply just stops in the middle of the street. And then he looks up. And you've got to imagine, everybody's walking. Okay, Jesus is coming this way, so let's walk. But then Jesus stops. Oh, he stopped. He stopped? Okay, what's he looking at? He's looking up. What's he looking at? And sure enough, what is that? They look up and they see that there's a man in the tree. Who's that man? Who's in the tree? There's this whispering going all through this crowd. Who's in the tree? It looks like Zacchaeus. Aha! Did you guess that? It's Zacchaeus. What's Zacchaeus doing in a tree? Why is Zacchaeus in a tree? Zacchaeus? What's he doing in a tree? Why is he up there? What's he doing? And Jesus just simply stopped and he said, Zacchaeus. He knew his name. Zacchaeus didn't, when I talk about didn't know Jesus, meaning he didn't know him like I know, you and I know each other, okay? I'm your teacher. You see me every day. You're my students. I see you. And so you see me every day. I'm not seeing you every day right now, but I'm talking with you each week. We know each other, okay? Zacchaeus knew who Jesus was, but he had never met him before. And so that he called out his name. I mean, that's amazing because we all know that in our lesson, from what the Bible says, Zacchaeus might have known who Jesus was, might have heard about who he was, but he didn't know him personally. I mean, I know who the president of the United States is, but I don't call him up and say, hey, we don't talk to each other. I don't know him, have a relationship with him. They didn't have a relationship with each other. Okay. So, I mean, I know who Mickey Mouse is, but I don't, Mickey Mouse wouldn't call me up and say hi. I mean, this is something that is amazing. I know many of you have grandmas, but the only grandmas that I have actually met, I know Charlie's grandmother, and I knew Noah's grandmother and Judy L's grandmother because we see her every day because she drops him off. And that's pretty much it. Oh, and I've met Catherine's grandmother before. That's pretty much it. So I know who they are, and I know you all have them, but to actually have a relationship and know who they are and talk to them, no. So Zacchaeus, Jesus talks to him. He calls out his name. Okay, let's stop there. He just calls out his name. That's amazing. And that gets his attention. Now, Jesus knows who Zacchaeus is and knows his name because he's God. He's the Son of God, and he knows everything. He knows our name. He knows who we are. That's amazing. Let's go on. He looks up and he says, Zacchaeus, come down. I'm going to go to your house today. Zacchaeus, this is exciting. Jesus wants to come to my house. Nobody wants to come to my house. Nobody likes me. He's a thief. He steals. He's not honest. Nobody wants to go to that person's house. He's taking money from people that he's not supposed to. He wants to come to my house. I'm getting down. So he gets out. How he gets down? Did he get help getting down? Probably. I don't know. Was it a really tall tree that he climbed up in? Was it easy to get down? Oh, goodness gracious me. Okay. Coming down's a whole lot scarier than going up. But he comes down. Now, the crowd. Why is Jesus wanting to go to Zacchaeus' house? He's awful. Of all the people that he could go and visit, why in the world would he want to go and visit Zacchaeus? I mean, this is how that they're talking. Because remember, Zacchaeus, he's a horrible guy. Nobody wants to get with him. Nobody wants to pay attention to him. Jesus does. There must have been something going on. It doesn't say, but the only thing that I can think of is Zacchaeus. He's got some questions. He needs answers. He realizes, he's got to have realized that he's been doing wrong, but he doesn't know how to stop. That's the only thing I'm thinking of. And the only person that can help him is Jesus. And he doesn't even know that he needs help. He just knew that he needed to see Jesus and climbed a tree. How Jesus was going to help him, how he was going to talk to Jesus, none of this he hadn't even thought of. But it doesn't matter anymore because Jesus said, come down. I want to talk to you. So the people are like, oh, why would he go to such a house? Yes, my house is this way. Okay, I'm going to go with you. I mean, this is exciting. This is fantastic because he gets to go home with him. Zacchaeus is bringing Jesus home to his home. No one comes to his home. And of course, everybody else is like, "Argh." But you know what? Jesus knew that Zacchaeus needed him, just like we need him. When they get home, there's a lot that has to be talked about. And he's going to talk about how he's going to have his sins forgiven. We know. Now, Jesus had not died on the cross yet, but in this picture here, it shows us kind of sitting at the cross. Because remember, he gave his life not just for the people of that time, but for us. When he was on the cross, he was thinking of us. When he rose again, he was thinking of us so that you and I could be with him together someday in heaven. Oh, this was exciting. And so when they got to the house, the Bible says that Zacchaeus and his house sat around and talked with Jesus. And while he was there, it said their life changed. There was a change that came over because as Jesus talked with Zacchaeus, Zacchaeus realized, I have sinned and I don't want it anymore. I've been doing wrong. I'm going to change my ways. It says they believed. Oh, this is exciting. So Zacchaeus' life was changed. In fact, it says that he went out and gave back money to the people that he had taken it from in the wrong way. Now, you still had to pay your taxes, but you didn't pay the extra. The extra that Zacchaeus got, he went back and he was giving it back to the people that had given it to him. Whoa, can you imagine? Zacchaeus knocking on your door and you opening the door. Yes. I mean, you're scared of him because, I mean, he could have you put into prison because does he want more money from me? And here's your money back. You gave me too much. I asked too much and I want to give you back. In fact, he gave them back that money and he gave them back a little extra. This was a change. That's what happens to us. You see, when we ask Jesus into our heart, we have a change. We're supposed to have a change. Our thinking changes. It's supposed to. Our thoughts change. Everything about us. See, because we are now what's called a child of God. When Jesus talked with Zacchaeus and his life changed, he became a Christian, someone that believes and trusts in Jesus. That's what it's called. So when we ask Jesus into our heart, when we trust in him and believe in him and tell him that we're sorry for our sins and we want to go to heaven someday, a change comes unto us. Just like this little face here is smiling big, it's exactly what happens to us. And we just have to know that we can turn things around. Again, just like Zacchaeus, turn your life around. Trust in him today. You have a great rest of your day.